Is Adam's next project a pipe dream? Or can you really create something stylish out of PVC? Thinking of updating your kitchen? Tara's creating the latest in open plan living.
Hey, that's the easy way.
A stunning garden right here at home that'll make you think you're in Greece.
You won't need your passport.
We've been lucky enough to see just about every inch of the makeover house transform, but there is one part left that we're yet to work our magic on.
Yes, Joe, it's this wasteland at the back of the garage, but it has beautiful sunshine, so it's ideal for a fantastic veggie garden. And with summer on the horizon, now's the time.
See, he's underselling it. It's not just going to be a vegetable garden. It is going to be the ultimate working veggie patch.
Let's get to it.
So what does that include? Of course, there's the actual veggie garden. Behind that, a greenhouse. Then there's a workstation and a vertical garden to boot. So it begins, G.
It does. Love a water tank. Do you know, Joe, even in the middle of a drought, a bit of dew at night on the roof, in the tank, and you're capturing a bit of moisture.
We don't want to hide the fact we have a water tank, but we are going to put like a little bit of a screen here where we trick the eyes just a bit.
It'll be part of the veggie garden. You wait till you see what we do with these little frames here. It's going to be just perfect.
If you're going to have a working garden, you need to have somewhere where you can pot up all your plants and your seedlings and store all of your tools and your fertilisers, etc. Now, part of the driving force of the projects that we're doing is to use all of the things that are actually either lying around the house or that are leftovers from the work that's already happened in the makeover house. Like this table, it was built years ago. It is, believe it or not, an incredibly solid structure, but at the moment, it's just wasted. So instead, we're actually going to put a screen up to here, put a couple of shelves on it, a couple of different drawers underneath, and this will actually be the place that you come. When you want to get your little seedlings out, when you want to plant up your new plants, when you're transferring things over, this will become a really important station in this yard.
Thanks, fellas. That's perfect. Now, we've had the boys make up this frame, and perfect into those holes. We'll rapid set these in. Also secure it back to the garage so the frame's nice and stable, and then we'll put our wire up. It's going to be a great addition into the garden for sure.
So what's better than one frame? Well, that's two frames. The boys have been very busy. But unlike Graham's frame over here, which is actually being put in the ground with concrete, this one is just sitting plumb and being screwed to this massive solid table. Now, I mentioned that we're trying to use all of the leftover bits of waste, but we actually have had to buy all the structural bits, the pine, the brackets, and of course the screws. So this is kind of like the brains behind the operation, but now we actually get to the fun part.
Okay, now we're using these bugle screws to hold the wire mesh onto the timber frame, and then we'll use these little clips to make sure it's nice and secure. Now, this is the narrowest part of the garden, but we still want to make use of this vertical space here, so instead of a full-on vertical garden, we'll use the wire frame to support some pots, maybe flowers, herbs, veggies. We'll see what fits.
We use these beautiful timbers on the boardwalk at the front of the house. And we're using the leftovers for the screen on the bench. So you kind of get the gist of what it's going to look like. All we need to do is pre-drill a couple of screws in here to hold it this way, and then we're going to put on some side panels as well. It's going to look fantastic. Love it!
You guys still going?
Oh, look at the cheeky chops over there.
Oh, yeah, pre-assembled's the way to go. There we go. And this, of course, will secure our frame onto the garage wall.
Well, you're not the only people who can pre-assemble. This is going to be our little shelf that goes in underneath. How about that? Wow, still have all my fingers and thumbs. Nice work indeed. Great work all round.
Brilliant. Nicely dressed off, finished.
It looks beautiful. I love how you can still access all your plumbing in the top of the tank.
Excellent. Looking really good, Joe, but only half done.
I was going to say, this side looks good. This side, not so much.
Not yet.
Now for the star of the show, the actual veggie patch, starting with 2 timber frames that make up the base. All right, Now, if you think it's strange that we're leaving this part on its side and one layer down, there's a really simple reason. We're actually going to put some corrugated iron, some of the leftover stuff from the garage, around the edges. Now, if we tried to do it while it was in place, you would never actually be able to secure it. But most importantly, G?
Yeah, this timber, now when you're building any sort of garden bed, make sure you use treated pine, but it's not treated with arsenic.
Yeah.
So it's actually safe. You don't want the arsenic leaching into your soil.
Now, as far as the type of veggie patch we're making, we're actually building a wicking bed. You may have heard the term before, but really, in a nutshell, all it means is you water it down the bottom and your plants or veggies draw up as much water as they need.
So in a drought, it's an absolute treat.
All right, there is a method to our madness. In comes our corrugated iron. Now, this was leftovers when they built this shed. Now, we're actually using the underside so we see the white rather than the yellow once we finish this garden. And all we need to do is overhang it 45. And the reason why, we're actually going to finish it off with timber so it will tie in with the other structures and also give this a bit of strength. I'm ready to screw that off. You right, you're on, G?
Yes, mate. Now, we've pre-drilled these holes here, so we put the screws in, which will join the two pieces together and increase the stability of the whole frame.
With that sorted, we line the outside with the rest of our tin sheets. And then secure timber battens around the top. So what is the best bit about getting a landscaper to order all of your timber for the decking? Well, there's lots left over. We have enough spotted gum to even pretty up this raised garden bed. But it has another meaning as well, not only looking good, but it means we get rid of all these sharp edges so that when you're actually in your veggies and you're pulling them out and you're pottering around, you don't have to worry about nicking yourself. Ready to screw them on?
Yep.
You're probably wondering how come I know so much about wicking beds. Well, veggie gardening is a great passion of mine. I recently put in some wicking beds and I think they're absolutely amazing. Now, obviously, these are very raised garden beds, but believe it or not, that was to make our life easier. We've just used the sheets as they came off the garage. But with a wicking bed, you actually need quite a few layers to make the system work. So what was underground here was exactly what you see outside, lots of pebbles and bits of broken glass. So first of all, we're using all the leftover bricky sand. We're going to level that out and then line it.
And the liner makes the whole container waterproof. The next layer is scoria. You can get it at Bunnings. It's a volcanic product. It's rather interesting because it's porous. So it'll sit at the bottom, but when the water goes into the scoria, it actually can be drawn up to where the plants are growing through capillary action.
The scoria will help weigh down the liner. Then we scoop out a trench in a zigzag pattern and lay some ag pipe. And this is how the veggie patch will get watered.
Now, we're in the middle of a drought, but it will rain again sometime, and when it does, this is going to fill up with water, and you don't want that happening. So, little tap, Joe's just put it through there, and that's a connector onto the irrigation. All this you can get in the irrigation aisle in Bunnings, so it's simple, works a treat.
It's also, if you are topping up the water yourself, you just know that when it starts coming out the overflow point, that's your point to stop. Now we've got our next little bit, which is the really important bit of separating the scoria from the soil.
Yep, next step, geofabric. Now, the more organic the mix, the better it works to get the moisture coming up into your plants. So we're adding cow manure, a lot of it, to an organic garden mix already. So it's a great combination. And make sure you use your gloves.
Ooh, pungent.
So this smell reminds me, when I was an apprentice, we used to clean out the chicken pens. And we do it all day, you know. And then I'd go home on the train. Always had the seat to myself.
So, Graham, the exciting bit, water's going in.
Brilliant.
It's a bit of a myth with wicking beds. Some people think you don't ever have to water from the top, but if you're putting seedlings in, you are going to have to water for about the first 3 to 4 weeks. But the reason I love them is because you're not constantly watering from the top, you have less weeding to do.
Green stuff next, bring it on.
Look at his smile. He loves this bit.
We've nearly finished the ultimate veggie patch at the Makeover house. Pebbles are going down to make our easy care floor. And then it's just one more big addition.
Now, I have a little greenhouse that I use non-stop at the farm, and it's only about so high.
You can't fit in it.
No. Well, not surprisingly, given the size of me, but this one you can actually walk into. You buy them from Bunnings, they arrive all with numbers, so easy to click together, and then you just put the little greenhouse over the top. They're brilliant. Oh my gosh, it's literally gonna fly away. Probably best to wait for a less windy day. We might actually end up in the next suburb at this rate.
It's not windy inside.
No, lovely.
That's what Graham said. How is it? Nice and protected in there?
Very relaxing in here, Joe. It's really nice.
If I was you, I'd get that tent peg in pretty quick. The whole thing might fly away otherwise. As good as the greenhouse looks on its own, we're dressing ours up even more with a spotted gum frame to tie in with the rest of the garden.
We've married the side of the greenhouse with this wire mesh, the same as we've got on the other side of the water tank. It's also facing north, so it means we can add lots of flowers, lots of colour. And the advantage of the flowers is that it brings in the bees. We need bees for the pollination in our wicking beds. So this wall is facing west, so it gets a lot of sun. So some real heat lovers here, like the rosemary, the curry bush, and the little oregano.
I think this looks absolutely fantastic. We're using the side screen for our tools, so you've got ease of access to grab them. Using some leftover spotted gum, just a really basic shelf system. In the top, we've got all of our seeds. The bottom, we've got a container for green waste. We've got all of our pots, our little seedlings. Everything can be done here on our workstation. We've even got things like all our leftover fertilisers and bits and bobs and potting mix stored away in these containers. And that's a great tip. Keep them in the plastic bags. That way they don't lose all the moisture that's in them. But seriously, it's like being in a kitchen. Everything that you need, all within reach. Work away, done.
Don't you wanna be like us? Don't you wanna be like us?
Now, this is an absolutely great time of the year to get your veggies in, because this is the time of year where they just flourish. You want to have everything so that by the time summer and the end of summer rolls around, you can just head out to the garden, grab a beautiful fresh leek, I don't know, make yourself a little leek quiche. Absolutely beautiful. But we're also putting in a whole lot of lettuces and some onions and some garlics, some kale, some peas, a whole bunch of really easy things that you can grow. Seriously, you just put it in, give it a bit of water, a little bit of love, and that's all you need.
When you're sowing your seeds, they can go straight into a tray, especially if you've got plenty of space like we have in our wicking bed. So some capsicum seed, and just sprinkle it out, space them out, and then you can push them in. Now, a tray this size could easily take 100 little plants. There we go. Poke them down so they're just below the soil. Now, all the seeds at this time of the year include the capsicums and onions and tomatoes and carrots. There's a whole pile. Some you need to sow direct, others you can sow into a little tray like this little fella. Put those here so it doesn't blow away. And then just give them a little mist. Put the label in, along with our little paper label there, and then pop them in your greenhouse. Now, this is how the greenhouse works. In here, it's lovely and warm. 3 or 4 weeks later, we organise these just to show you. Once the seedlings are this size, they're ready to plant out. Joe, have you left me any room? I've got 60 capsicums here and sweet corn.
Honestly, I have learned from my own personal experience, the biggest problem you have with a veggie patch is you always overplant it the first time. Now, another great thing about the wicking beds, and I know I keep raving about them, is that most of your root balls of your veggies will go down about 25 centimetres, which is exactly where your water source is, and then it will only draw up what it needs.
And it doesn't need to be any deeper. You think, oh, I'll have more soil? No, it doesn't work. It'll only come up 25 centimetres.
Brilliant. So what else are we going to put in here?
Some more corn.
Corn.
We're going to need to build another one.
I know. I think we need another 10 by the amount of corn we've got here. Graham, I cannot believe this is the same wasteland we started out with.
It's so productive now, Joe. You've got these hanging gardens here, herbs, flowers, veggies, and your workbench.
See, I love that. Everything's within easy reach, including your tools. Then you've got great access to your greenhouse. The hero, the wicking bed.
Yes.
Honestly, this has been fun.
Joe, you've got enough seedlings here for 5 families. It's time to step away.
I think the legend himself has told me. Time to let it go, Joe. Let it go.
This home is a little unusual because it's actually in a warehouse. Now, the owners here, they're budding chefs and they desperately need a brand new kitchen. Now, the good news is there are some great materials to work with. We've got timber floors, these great brick walls, and most importantly, plenty of space. Now, the things to remember before you go ripping everything out is to decide what is it that you love about your existing kitchen. For the owners, this is perfectly functional. They actually love the layout. So the sink's in a good spot, as is the stove and the oven, and also the fridge. And in design terms, we call this the magic triangle. It's actually really what you want to go for when you're planning a brand new kitchen. The other thing I guess you need to think about is how do you personalise your space? Well, for the owners here, they love things like drawings from the kids, this favourite tea towel, and also some of their crockery. So I'm going to use those as design cues. Being a warehouse, of course, it lends itself to the industrial look. So I reckon we should start planning. It's totally stuck.
Really?
There it is, there it is. The most cost-effective thing to do is leave your main fixtures like the sink and plumbing where they are. And remember, when clearing the space, make sure to have your plumber and electrician disconnect everything first. One key feature of the industrial look is clean, sleek lines. You want to have everything open and kind of flat. And this tall pantry, well, it's just not going to work. So instead of losing this valuable storage, what we're going to do is incorporate it underneath the bench and actually widen it as well. Yay. There's that coat hanger I've been looking for.
Don't puncture the gyprock, Tara.
Did you hear that? He said, don't puncture the gyprock.
Oh, look, oh my God.
You made an absolute mess of that.
I'm being gentle.
Yeah, I can see. Why don't we just cut around the whole section and pull it away?
That's a good idea.
And you've got to allow for contingencies. Not everything goes to plan. Hey, that's the easy way. When you're planning a brand new kitchen, it's just so exciting because you really get a fresh take on how you use the space. So instead of thinking about all of these as just basic kitchen cupboards, think about what you need and the layout that you actually will need to work for your family. You can see how fun this cardboard system is. You can really visualise how things will all look. As for that damaged wall above the sink, well, it's being replaced, and once the tiles are on, it will look as good as new. A really beautiful aspect of the industrial look is having exposed brickwork. We're so lucky in here. We've got this column, but as you can see, it's not exposed. Over the years, it's been painted, layers of paint here. So I want to reveal the brickwork underneath. Normally, you would have to use quite a noxious, nasty chemical stripper on bricks to reveal what's underneath. This is a water-based product. It's pretty easy to use. You just scoop it out with your brush. Then you get some of this paper, apply it over the top and tape it on either side. It literally eats into the paintwork and works its magic, so I can't wait to see how this looks. Once you've got your layout sorted, well then it's down to the pointy end. You need to decide on your materials, your colours and your finishes. This room we're going for an industrial style, so we already know the theme that we're going for, and it could all start from a jumping off point, like a favourite piece in a room. And this is what I want to use to dictate the look of the whole space. I want to incorporate timber to make it nice and warm and also to echo the raw brickwork. This is gorgeous jarrah, and that's going to add that nice humanity, I guess, to this space. For the bench tops, I'm going with this really clever kitchen benchtop product. It's called Paper Rock. I'll tell you more about that soon. And as for the cabinet doors, well, again, I'm going to bring out this dark colour, so I'm going to have a mixture of black and possibly almost a green. There's a slight green hue going through here. For tiles, we could have gone for this very slick look, but it has a slight Japanese quality, so I found these tiles sat a lot better. But I think the first thing we need to do is look at the colour on the wall, and that's where these sample pots come in, and then the whole thing can spring from there. It's amazing just how different a paint colour can look when you paint it out on a large white board. So I highly recommend this practice. You get about enough in there to paint a square metre. So do 2 coats, and you can even just leave it sitting there for a couple of days and look at it under different light. Nighttime light is very different to daylight, trust me. I've arrived at this colour. I love this. I think it's working beautifully with a palette, but I have a slight dilemma because I also like this darker green. So in actual fact, we could use both. So what I've decided to do is incorporate this green into the cabinet doors along with the black, and this for the walls. Had to call in the troops because this bench top's pretty heavy. Beautiful, thank you. Nice work.
You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. In case you're wondering, this fabulous benchtop material is not made of timber, it's not even made of stone, it's actually made of compressed paper, which is something that I'd never heard of, but apparently architects specify it's used commercially quite a lot. Only comes in black in this country. If you're wondering about its durability in a kitchen, it is completely heat resistant and water resistant and very hygienic. And most importantly, it looks fantastic, but it's sustainable. Ticks all the boxes. The colour of your grout can have an enormous effect on how your finished tile job actually looks. Grey is a particularly popular one now because the industrial look is very in. And if you think about it, it actually highlights the shape of these tiles beautifully. And, well, I have to say that grey is a much more practical colour than white, especially in a kitchen. Now it's time to see how those bricks have turned out. Oh, wow. That's so satisfying. It's amazing. Look at that gorgeous colour it's revealing. Over the years, these bricks have actually cracked and the white paint just gathers in those. So I think I might leave that. Great texture. I wanted this sink to disappear seamlessly into the bench top, so we've gone for this really modern material in sinks. It's composite granite, incredibly durable. And in terms of design, well, how are we tracking? Back to our original inspiration. Well, I reckon we're on the money. We're looking pretty good. All this and much more soon. I did say how blessed we were to have so many fantastic original features in this space. They just add all of that layer of character that we need for this brand new kitchen. The brickwork, well, it speaks for itself. It looks amazing now. Painted or unpainted, both fantastic. And as for this metal plate at the top, well, it was actually always there, but by painting it black, it just picks it all out. You get this lovely pattern and it frames the whole wall. To make the shelf strong and sturdy, we've located the studs to correspond with the dowels. In it should go. Done. No hands. Beautiful, love that. This corner. Okay, good.
Go.
It's amazing. It looks like a jumbo jet.
Very smooth. No knobs.
It's at this stage, well, you can take a bit of a breather because it's time to call back in the tradies. You will, of course, need the electrician back to fit off your stove, your oven, any new lighting you've chosen, and your power points. And the plumber, he'll need to fit off the sink and the dishwasher. Just to complicate things a little bit further, instead of having just one run of the same coloured cabinets, what I decided to do was to incorporate a different colour in here. So the green picks up the colour on the wall, so we've got a couple of standard painted doors mixed in with the black. We've got drawers, one for each member of the family, and also a little timber cubby hole again here, just to reinforce what's going along the back. Here is the man who made it all happen, the ever-patient Scotty. Thank you.
Last one. Good.
You might have noticed by now there's one very obvious appliance missing from the kitchen, and that is a range hood. Well, with this cooktop, you don't need one because it has built-in ventilation. It's a great space-saving idea. Now, having a cooktop in the island bench is also a very social way to gather with your friends and family. And you can probably see there's no real place for them to sit. So by adding a Jarrah bench top, not only ties in all of this gorgeous floating shelving and the texture and warmth of the timber, but cantilevered, it allows for space underneath the bar stools. It's a really friendly, lovely way to gather with your family. When you're planning a new kitchen, if there's one thing I insist you really think about, it's the placement of your bins, because too often they're an afterthought and they just kind of get dumped at the end of the counter or near the door and they look plain ugly. So let's make a permanent recycling station and give it a good place in the kitchen. We'll make them look a lot better. So what I want to do here is build a basic box. So I'm using plywood and some pine. I've had it cut to the size of the 2 bins. So we've got a back and 3 sides. And you'll need some glue and some screws. Then for underneath, just some caster wheels. The ones that swivel are the best. This is raw timber, so it does need to be sealed. This is just a water-based primer. Dries really fast. When it is dry, you can go in with your top coat colour, and for that, well, you can pick any colour that works with your new kitchen. A quick and clever idea. Something you could do this weekend, tidy storage for your bins. I think this exposed brick wall really has to be one of my favourite features of the new kitchen. I'm so pleased that we went to the trouble to actually create this. It's like a feature wall in the space, and by anchoring the lights onto that and having these Jarrah shelves on either side, it's kind of like the spine of the kitchen. It all emanates from here. We've installed a brand new dishwasher to coordinate with the old fridge. If you're in the market for brand new appliances and you want to know what's absolutely hot right now, it's black glass. That's what this stove's made from, and also the oven. So slick and beautifully elegant, fantastic for contemporary design. And the old pantry that we lost, well, look at this. We've gained all of this valuable space under the bench. It's easy access. I love this idea. Pots and pans, look at that, neat and tidy in their home. And probably my favourite, look at these drawers. Oh, it's harmony, everything in its place, so beautiful. So I guess the moral here is plan well and everything will go to plan. Guess the job's finished then.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling. I've always been told I've got a good set of pipes, but I better pipe down before the neighbour throws something at me and get started on this amazing project. It's a chair made out of pipes. Before I get started with my pipes, I'm going to make the sides of the chair first. For that, I'm using some 25mm thick plywood. I'm going to mark up my shape. And then I'll use a jigsaw to cut it out. And that is our shape. And with one side cut out, I'll now flip it back onto the plywood, use it as a template. And cut the other side out. Now I've got the 2 sides cut out. I need to use the pipes to join these together. So following the shape of our chair, I'm going to go around and drill some 90mm holes. That way our pipe has somewhere to sit in. To make the holes, I'm just using a 90mm hole saw bit. I've marked the centre of each hole, and the tip here is to start on one side, then flip the ply over and finish it off. That way, you don't blow out the back of the timber. Beautiful. And with all the holes complete and my sides finished off, I'm now going to go over everything with some sandpaper to smooth it all out. Then I'll give it a coat of paint. For the colour, I'm just using Vivid White. And the tip here is you don't want to paint inside the circles, otherwise it will become too tight and our PVC pipe won't be able to slide in. As the Danny Boy song goes, the pipes are calling and it's time for me to get this chair together. While the sides are drying, I'm just going to cut the PVC pipe to size. That's the PVC pipes cut up. Now we need to dress them up because a PVC pipe isn't that attractive. You'd probably think, well, you can just paint it, but the problem with paint is it's going to scratch over time and it won't stick to the pipe properly. So the trick is to get some PVC primer and mix it with a stain. Now I've chosen a black stain. They come in all different colours. I'll put about 1/4 of the bottle in, shake it up. When you are working with this stuff, it is pretty toxic, so you want to make sure that you're working outside in a well-ventilated area and also you've got your safety gear on. Then apply it to my pipe. And use a cloth to wipe it down. That's all the pieces for our chair made up. Now it's time to start putting it together. All right, let's have a look. How cool is that? And to finish it off, I'm just going to go over these black pipes with some wax, which will make the black just pop that a little bit more. You've got to love the colour, but. And by using the same technique, I've just created this little side table too. And who would have thought, with one sheet of plywood and some PVC pipe, you could create this whole little outdoor setting. The best part about it is it's comfy too. And it turns out, it wasn't just a pipe dream after all. Everyone loves entertaining on a hardwood deck, but when it looks like this, it's not very inviting. The good news is it's easy to fix. The first thing I'm doing is just hosing down the deck, but it's a good idea to check your local water restrictions before you do that. Then I'm going to apply a deck cleaner to get rid of the dirt and rejuvenate the timber. I'm going to mix it at a 4:1 ratio, use a stiff brush to brush it in. You just want to make sure that you protect your plants, so if you do get it on there, just wash it off straight away. Leave it sitting for about 15-20 minutes and then hose it off. I'm very happy with how this deck looks, and now that it's dry, we are ready to put the oil on. I've decided to go with a grey stain. Now, it's going to need at least 2 coats. You want to make sure that when you're applying your oil, you go with the full length of the boards, working over around 2 or 3 boards at a time. That looks spectacular. Now I'll just wait for it to dry, I'll give it another coat, and we've got a brand new looking deck in a day.
Have you ever gone on holidays and thought, oh, I'd love to have that in the backyard? Well, the first time I went to Bali on a footy trip, I would have loved to have that in the backyard. What a party! Well, thankfully, there's people with far more culture than me that have been to far more countries than me. And we're about to visit a lady, Margaret, who travelled the world for up to 7 years. And her influences, well, they've brought them back to Australia and put them into a garden. And what a garden it is. Hello, Margaret.
Jason.
Nice to finally meet you. How are
Yes,
you?
very nice to meet you too.
What a beautiful space you have here.
Isn't it nice? Even if I do say so myself. I have to thank this wonderful rain we had, and then the sunshine, and everything just burst.
Well, let's show everyone around. You lead the way.
Okay.
We're so lucky to be able to visit Margaret's garden in the first flush of spring. Everything's looking fresh as a daisy. So how long have you been here for, Margaret?
I have to keep going back and thinking how old I am. See, that's a really tricky.
Well, you're 21.
Yeah, that's right, I'm 21.
And you've been here for 40-something years.
Yes. Before we bought it, there'd been a bushfire through, and there was nothing here at all except black stumps. The whole idea of it was driving through the Middle East, though. I just loved the mud brick buildings. I just loved the way people lived and the insulation of the buildings. I just loved all the plants there. Also, all that Mediterranean history. It's just fabulous. I was dying, just dying to get home and start doing something new.
So the olives, they're from when you spent time in Greece?
The love of olive trees and also olive oil.
Olive oil, yeah.
We were really into olive oil. And we tried to buy trees, and back then you just couldn't get them. And we were told, just don't do it, they won't survive. And we thought, well, what the hell, we'll just press them and see what the oil's like, and the oil is really nice.
Excellent. Well, I might go and have a sticky beak at the olives and
Yes, do.
I'll find my way back to the kitchen. The first thing you notice when you pull up is this beautiful grove of olives. Now, they planted them 40 years ago, well before olive oil was common practice and very trendy in Australia. So they had to really look hard just to source the plants. This is absolutely stunning. And there's a beautiful carpet of yellow capeweed. Now, I know it's a weed, but when it looks as good as this, I'll excuse it. Two of the plants that I see repeated through the garden a lot are rosemary, the one here with the mauve flower, and lavender, which is just about to come out. Now, people curse them every now and then because they get woody and they fall apart in the middle, and then you've got to replace them. Well, what Margaret's done's smart. She takes regular cuttings, so you just got to get a little bit of last year's growth. You peel off the leaves. It's really not a good example because it's got a flower bud on it. Stick that into honey or Vegemite, put it in some sandy soil, give it a water, and then cover it with a plastic bag and elastic band to create humidity. Within about 6 to 10 weeks, it'll have its own root ball. And from one plant with some cuttings, you could probably grow a couple of hundred of these, keeping the garden forever young. And the ones that are left over, you could probably sell them at the local fete. In Australia, we're obsessed with living outside and we spend big money on it. But sometimes you need to stop and see what you really need. I look at this furniture here and I can imagine buying it at a garage sale for 30 or 40 bucks because it just looks so inviting. And it's because of this. It's a cheap, insignificant pergola that's covered in wisteria. And on a hot summer's day, when this is covered in leaf, it's probably 10 degrees cooler than being under a hard structure like a pergola. It's absolutely stunning when it's in flower. It looks stark and beautiful when it's deciduous, and it's lush and green when it's in leaf. When you have a big garden, you still need to have things that draw your eye. So the log on the ground, the old water bowl that's been filled with pebbles, but all these pots and the little walls and everything just create points of interest. When you repeat that around a garden, you create a theme. Now I look at the terracotta and it screams Mediterranean. Even the cheap stuff you buy in Bunnings, guess where it comes from? Italy. This is picture perfect. What a beautiful garden you have.
Yes, what a beautiful day for it too.
And a beautiful garden means you've got a beautiful life.
I do. We never take it for granted, Jason.
Now, this is your cold-pressed, famous olive oil that no one in the world can buy. Can I try it?
You certainly may.
Excellent. Bloody amazing, isn't it?
It is pretty good, yes.
All right, there's my lunch sorted. Doesn't get more simple than that.
Thank you for coming. I've enjoyed it immensely.
Well,